Hey there, it's Amy with Mindful Art Studio coming to you today with a little video on how I refill my Lamy Safari fountain pen. I've had a lot of requests about how to use the pen, how it works, and how to refill it, so I wanted to talk to you all about that today. I'll show you step by step how I do it. It's very simple. I'll show you supplies and give you links and walk you through the process, which is short and easy. But I did want to just speak a minute quickly about why I started using the pens. Essentially, I started out using the really wonderful Micron pens because they're also a waterproof pen. But I do so much work in pen with very detailed marks and lines. I just found that I was throwing away these pens again and again. It just seemed really not a good practice. And so I started getting curious about fountain pens, but maybe like you, I was a little overwhelmed trying to understand which pen I should use and how do you use them, and is it hard, is it difficult? And it wasn't until a student very kindly let me borrow her pens at a retreat that I did, and then she set me up with an online cart with all of the links for what I would need, and then that kind of made it just so easy. And so I wanted to do the same thing for you. So I use my fountain pen now all the time. I have two Lamy Safaris, one for my sepia color and one for black. And these are my favorite. They're the most comfortable in my hand. You should shop around. You can go into local pen shops and try things, talk to folks at your local art store. Or if you want, you can just click the links that I have below and check things out for yourself. So I carry my pen. I use this when I do my weekly free slow drawing workshops. So I use little bits of paper and draw in there. And, I also will take one of my handmade journals and then just a pen. And I take this around with me when I'm waiting for my son at his activities and that kind of thing. It's wonderful to be able to just draw. And I find that, this works great. It's not a problem with leaking or anything like that, because I know that sometimes is one of the concerns. So yeah, they're awesome. I use them in the studio. I use them on the go. So definitely recommend it. So let's dig right into how to do this. Let's get to know this pen. So we uncap our pen. It's just like any other. You can write with it just totally normally. It's wonderful. I love it. I find it very comfortable. And let's just look at how the pen is made up. So you can unscrew the back. This is just an empty housing. And then this is your converter, right? So when you first buy the pen, it'll come with a cartridge that looks something like this, minus the plunger, where there's just ink in it, and you just pop it out and replace it with a new one. But if you want to really go the full 9 yards, right, you can see what that looks like. So you could do that, and that would still save ink for sure. Then it just snaps back in. Or like me, you might want to have, in my case, a waterproof ink that you can refill. And so for that, you're gonna need to also purchase the converter. But again, you're saving yourself pen after pen in the environment, right? So you just buy this and the converter. And this is a plunger, operates with a screw, so you tighten and loosen it. And that's how, I'm going to show you in a minute, that's how you get the ink back into the pen. And then you just screw this back on and cap your pen. Okay, so before we even change the ink, let's just change the tip. If you wanted to change the tip, this is a fine, let's say you want to use like a broad or something, you just literally slip it right off and then slide it back on. Now, I never change the tip because I pretty much just use this one pen with the one tip, but you can certainly interchange the tips, and that works great. I think that's really the only time that I usually get too much ink on my fingers, and as long as I just wash them right away, I find it most really comes off. A damp microfiber cloth actually also goes a long way towards cleaning my hands in the moment. So to refill this pen, you just uncap the ink. Now this one I just filled, but I'll show you how this works. So this is a little plunger, right? And so you move it back and forth and you can see it's pushing the ink. So I'm going to go ahead and push some of this ink out. Some of it is dripping out, which you probably cannot see, but to refill the pen, I'm going to submerge so that it's at least until there. So we're definitely well beyond the front of the nib, right? And I just moved the plunger backwards. You can see it has filled back up, right? And now I'll recap my ink so I avoid any troubles. And then I can just use my paper towel to blot off some of this excess ink. And I like to pretty immediately put the back on this. It just gives me more dry spots to hang on to. It's easier to handle. And then I just dry off any little excess ink that I've gotten on the pen, which actually I never get this much on, but because I'm trying to do this for you, of course I'm making a mess. So then I just have this damp cloth. I did say damp, I didn't say damp. And I just clean off the pen a little bit, clean off my fingers. I would then go wash my hands to get that little excess ink off. And usually if I wash my hands right away, it's totally fine. And then I go ahead and test to make sure everything is running fine. Get that tight on. And look, a beautiful line, right? Hello. Okay, so welcome to my kitchen. You can see my husband's beautiful orchids. That's definitely not me. Anyway, so I wanted to show you, like I said, if I have a pen that's clogged, because I haven't used it in a little bit. So here's my Lamy Safari where I keep my sepia colored ink right here, and I just run it under the water a little bit. As a starting point, grab some scrap paper and let's see, kind of test over here. And already it's writing for me. If that doesn't work, you can just pop the top off and I'll show you a better view of that on the table. And, but then you can just clean the top. I suggest don't do that like right over the sink, like cover it somehow so that you're not putting it down the drain. Just like a little stream of water. Help get that top unclogged, and then, you know, obviously just dry it off. Nice and gentle. And then you can just slide it back on. And then again, you can come over here and test. And it takes a minute after you do that because the ink needs to run back down, right? Because it's got that little split and that's where the ink runs down into. And now it's writing again, right? And that's it. It's really, really simple. And like I said, I just find this to be a very comfortable pen because of the way that it's shaped. And, you know, you can get different size nibs from, you know, I don't know all the sizes, but there's like broad and fine and extra fine and different ones. So, and of course, Lamy is only one company. There's a lot of different types of fountain pens and you're going to find what works for you. I just thought I would help folks out because it's a little intimidating when you're unfamiliar with something. So hopefully that demystified the process a bit. There's links below to help you out, and you can like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and also sign up for our email for free weekly workshops.